Hi, it's Kelly here from AI Forge. Thank you everyone for joining and for your patience as well. Just thought we'd give it a couple of minutes to let everyone join, but I think we've got quite a few people here now, so we'll make a start. So what's the purpose of this webinar? Thought I'd cover the agenda quickly just to let you know what's coming. First of all, we'll talk about AI Forge, just give you a bit more information about us and what we're building here. And secondly, we'll talk to you about who we're looking to work with as well. So what type of founders are we looking to work with? Thirdly, we'll talk about the 12-week program. We'll give you a quick overview as to what's included. And lastly, the application process as well. So what makes a good application? Just a few, rules. Just pop questions in the chat. If you have any. We will pause after each section to answer any questions, so feel free to post your question at any time and we'll answer it after each section. Stay on mute as well, unless just to reduce some background noise as well, unless you want to ask a question. So, and we'll also circulate the recording afterwards too. If you miss any parts, you can watch it back at twice the speed to save yourself some time. So just a quick introduction to myself first. I'm Kelly Roberts. I'm the Deal Flow Director at AI Forge. My role is to drive applications, encourage applications from founders who are building AI first companies. And then I have to review those applications and narrow it down to a short list who I put forward to our judging panel. And then that judging panel helps us select the final 10 or 12 that make it into the programme. I did work at an incubator before this as well, so I've got some experience. I've met hundreds and hundreds of founders over the time, so I can give you some tips on who we're looking for and what makes a good application as well. I'll just hand you over quickly to Rohan, my colleague, who will introduce himself.
Hi guys, so my name is Rohan and I'm the outreach manager at AI Forge. My responsibility here is to source the ideal founder and source the ideal mentors that will be supporting you across your journey at the Forge. I'm kind of in your guys' shoes as well. I'm an AI founder myself, and I founded many times previously. Currently working on 2 startups at the moment in the AI space, namely in music and in football. So I kind of understand how you guys feel. I've come through and actually applied to many incubators before. I understand how rigorous the process is, and that's exactly what we'd want to put on you guys over here. I'll be looking at your applications as well alongside Kelly. We'll be part of the deal flow team. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what you guys have in store for us. Let's build.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Rohan. Just a bit about AI Forge. So I imagine a lot of you would have looked at our website or we would have messaged you, so you'll have some knowledge. But I'll just say a little bit about the team. So the team at AI Forge, they're a team of experienced entrepreneurs. So our CEO, Craig, he's had many successful exits. He's done so much fundraising over the years. He's great at fundraising and talking to investors, and he has a huge network. His last exit was Yorkies. He sold that to Zoopla in just 3.5 years, so pretty swift exit. He's had many other companies as well, and he's experienced every pitfall there is known to the startup world, so he likes to impart his knowledge. He's incredibly hands-on as well and incredibly supportive, so you'll meet him throughout the programme. Also Ian, our programme director, he'll be the person looking after you for the full 12 weeks. He'll be your guide, your mentor, your sounding board. He curates the programme. He's run incubators and accelerators in various different countries in Latin America. He's an exited founder as well himself, and he's fantastic. We also have Andy, our partnerships director. He's responsible for connecting our founders to corporates who might be your first client potentially. They may be able to give you insights into the industry issues that you're trying to tackle. And he brings a whole wealth of knowledge and is also an experienced entrepreneur as well. We also have our CTO, Robin. He's got his own company called Vianex. He's got 45 developers on board. They develop many sort of AI solutions and blockchain solutions as well. So he was the head of the Blockchain Society at Cambridge University. And he's grown his company Vianex rapidly it's valued at about 23 million in just a couple of years. So he brings a whole wealth of knowledge and is our AI expert and has broader knowledge beyond that as well. So yeah, that's kind of the core team. We're a well-resourced team. We're really, really hands-on, and we support you throughout the 12 weeks of the programme and can open many, many doors. So we've designed our incubator with a view to not just supporting you with the AI aspects. We are working with AI first companies. So AI is central to what you're building. It's central to you being able to disrupt the market. But we really help you with all the commercial aspects of running a business as well, and things like go-to-market strategy, raising investment. So it's very commercially focused as well as technically focused. We cover everything. It's designed to be really, really holistic. Hopefully that'll come across shortly. And we're global, so we're launching in London and Miami at the same time. First programs kick off on the 2nd of September. And we've got plans, aggressive plans to expand globally as well, beyond that, 2 additional cities per year. And we're backed by great investors as well, who are fully behind us. And beyond that as well, we're really passionate about building a community. So we get hundreds of applications. We've got hundreds of applications coming through now. Obviously, only a small percentage kind of make it through. But we never want to kind of say no. We want to say, you're probably not ready now, or you need to do more work, or you need to iterate further. And we want to give you the tools to support you with that. And I'll hand you over to Rohan briefly to say a bit more about how we're building a community.
Sure. Thank you, Kelly. So we are building something called the Fire Pit, which will be almost like pre-incubation, and it will run through Discord and a range of other social channels. And the objective of this is to forge the AI leaders of the future. Now, everybody right now is not necessarily going to be ready. We have about 10 to 12 slots per cohort that we do, obviously 3 times per year. Now, a lot of people may slip through and not necessarily meet the requirements, but that's no problem. We do give detailed feedback. So that will be something that you can take across into pre-incubation, actually support and ideate. You can mix with people who've been there, done that. So we're going to obviously be putting funded AI startups, so founders of those, mentors across AI, and just general people to support you across your journey, because it doesn't just end with a simple rejection. I've been rejected many times by incubators, and I really wish I was given that kind of feedback. Okay, like what did I necessarily go wrong in? Not necessarily go wrong in, but why wasn't I ready? And sometimes you can get left in the dark as a founder. So we truly understand that, and that's something we really want to really enforce in this community that we're building. So it will be launched soon, and more details will be shared.
Yeah, thanks, Rohan. And you might have heard me say, we're launching September. We do bring a hell of a lot of experience to the table, as I mentioned, the team's experience. But we also built the UK's #1 blockchain incubator, which got acquired earlier this year. And we had great success there. On average, in 2022, we raised, I think it was £162,000 on average for each startup. And we accounted for 24% of all UK blockchain early stage sort of funding. So we had brilliant success there, and it got acquired earlier this year. So we are now replicating that, but iterating it, making it even stronger for AI. AI is currently the 2nd best funded sector after fintech in the UK. So it's the right time to be doing this. And we've also got advisors from Techstars on board as well. So we've learned a lot from Techstars. We've also done a huge trawl of AI and general incubators globally, and continue to kind of learn to be at the forefront really of what we're building. So does anybody have any, I'll just pause there for a second to ask if anybody's got any burning questions about AI Forge at the moment. If you want to pop your question in the chat, I'll just give you a few seconds. I'll just double check, actually. I don't think I can see any at the moment. So, yeah. Yeah, so great question from Priya. Should the idea be in that proof of concept stage or prior to that? I'd say it could be sort of on board between the two. So, we are really early stage, so we work with founders who are pre-seed at ideation. Proof of concept or achieving, product market fit, it's a lot of work. So you don't necessarily have had to have kind of validated it fully. But at the application stage, I do like to see that you have done some research and you've spoken to some customers, whoever you think your potential customers or clients will be that you've done a little bit of testing, you've got some initial evidence to demonstrate, you know, this is a problem, you understand the problem, and some potential customers or advisors in that space have told you, yeah, I've told you, you know, yes, this is something I paid for, yes, this is a real problem. So yeah, I don't know if you've got anything to add there, Rohan. You're
So
on.
yeah, me. No, you simply just need to be at the idea stage. Like Kelly said, yes, some background research is done, but I've spoken with many founders who are going through the, you know, the financials element, etc. A lot of that we're going to be doing with you, because our kind of our job or our responsibility is to invalidate your idea as much as possible. So to tear apart your hypothesis until there's something that befits the AI first company model, to make sure you have that, you know, longevity in the market. So yeah, that's key.
Yeah, great, thank you. And Nico's asked, do you need to have an idea? Yes, you do. So we are founder first. So having, you know, the attributes of a founder, the experience of a founder is absolutely crucial. But we do need you to have the beginnings of an idea and have validated to a certain degree and done some research. So yeah, so you can, a good place to start if you've got a few ideas and you're not sure where to start, is to sign up for our Fire Pit kind of pre-incubation course as well, which we'll tell you a bit more about in a moment. The next question is, where in London will this be based? It's going to be based in East London, in Shoreditch. We'll release more details soon on that, so keep your eyes peeled and follow AI Forge on LinkedIn for more details. But yeah, we're looking at a really, really cool co-working space. Yeah, so keep your ears to the ground for that. What is the name of the company of the CTO? Yeah, it's called Vionex. So that's VAIONEX. Yeah, if you want to check that out. And yeah, Robin Coase is our CTO, as Rohan's pointed out. And when will the selection result be released? That will be, so there's 3 stages. I'll tell you a bit more about our application process shortly. But the first week in August, we should be deciding on our final 10 to 12. But you will hear from us before then, because we'll call you up for an interview or provide you with some feedback as well. So, and then Athena has asked, what are the top AI trends currently that have shown interest in AI Forge? I'd say we've got quite a few health tech, health kind of companies looking to use data, large language models. I've also seen a few in sort of fashion and art as well, which is quite interesting. I'd say the bulk of them are B2B at the moment, but we do still have a massive amount of applications to work our way through. So we'll probably report back on the trends once our applications close, so in the next month or so. So yeah, there'll hopefully be some interesting insights there as well. The next question, whether part-time of CEO is possible, currently in PhD stage. Yeah, so I'd say the program is in person and it's very intense. It's 12 weeks and we do require you to be there for all pre-planned sessions. It's Tuesday to Thursday most days, most weeks. Some weeks we have bootcamp weeks. So there's 3 bootcamp weeks, which are Monday to Friday, and it is incredibly intense. So I'd probably advise you focus on this program fully and don't try and juggle something as intense as a PhD or if you've got a day job. I have seen some founders who've been really capable at managing their time and kind of coping with a little bit of freelance work to keep the to make the bills as part of the program. But I've seen a couple of founders try and do that and with not as much success. So and I was going to say we do give you £10,000 to help sustain you through the program. So I'll probably wait until you've got the time and capacity to join. So are there AI Forge based tools that we have to incorporate in the product we develop? Yes, we do have a suite of tools we can recommend. I don't think any are kind of AI Forge proprietary tools at the moment. But our CTO Robin will be able to advise what you can leverage kind of off the shelf and build on top of. And we're looking for founders who can do that too. So yeah, I don't know, Rohan's tracking the tools we're using as a company. So I don't know if you've got anything more to say on that, Rohan.
No, so at the end of the day, we are offering Amazon Web Service credits, Google credits as well, and we also, within the actual package of you joining, there'll be a range of tools that we actually use in-house, but in terms of AI Forge based, not necessarily yet. I know they are being developed by Vionex over time, but that's more to hear later on, but nothing right now.
Yeah, Great. And yes, you can put your application in before midnight. That's absolutely fine. Our deadlines were closing this Friday, but we've extended it to Monday. So to give people the weekend, and we appreciate some people are joining this webinar today, might want to go away and update or iterate their pitch decks following this. And yeah, we'll send around some links as well. I've noticed someone saying, would you mind popping the link in the chat? So we'll do that in a moment. And yeah, we can share the location too. I'm still looking for a co-founder. Can I still apply? Yes, you can. Absolutely. We're open to solo founders. We recognise really early stage. Often you might not have found a CTO yet or a co-founder. We are going to run some events to help you find your co-founder if you think you could benefit from one. So we'll say a bit more on the sort of types of founders we're looking for. So really good question from Shantanu. Are there any fees to be paid for attending this 12-week program? No, so there's no upfront cost to you at all. We provide the program, and it's valued at roughly over £100,000 in kind of advice, guidance, mentoring, with 60 masterclasses. But we do take equity in your business as well. So that's something to consider if you're at ideation stage. You haven't got any traction yet. That equity can seem like a good deal to get to market really, really quickly. If you do already have revenue and traction, that equity we take, it's 9%. It might feel a little bit less manageable, particularly if you've got existing investors. So just something to consider if we're a good match or not. And do you need a current UK work visa to attend? Yes, so if you're outside the UK, there's a couple of visa options you can apply to. There's the innovator visa. That does come with some additional kind of conditions. You have to prove that your idea is novel and there aren't any competitors, or you've differentiated somehow. You have to prove that as part of the visa process. We're just checking if you could actually come in on the standard visitor visa as well, because that's valid for 6 months. And it does cover some work, some education. So we're checking, does AI Forge fall under either of those banners, and how would that work, just to be sure. So we can circulate some more information on that soon. How is IP ownership being handled? You will own your IP. So unless you're licensing some software from elsewhere, if you build something, it'll be yours. I've seen previous success using Metaverse. To what extent the AI Forge can help in developing such solutions? Our sort of developer team, Robin, our CTO, he works on blockchain solutions as well, and has developed out some Metaverse solutions. And we've also got some sort of partners as well who we could refer you to potentially. So we could advise you on that during the program. And next question from Dea. Yes, it's designed for solo founders or small, like a small team. So a team of 2 or 3. So yeah, you can apply as a small team or a solo founder. We'll come back to these additional questions in a moment. I'm just kind of conscious of time. So Bob Thompson, you're up next. So I'll come back to you shortly. But I think if I move on quickly to the next section, it might answer some of these questions. So who are we looking to work with? So what founders are we looking to work with? So we've got kind of 3 personas, we would call them. The first, and in no particular order, by the way, I'm not saying that any of these is better than the other, but the first is like a commercially focused founder. So it may be an experienced entrepreneur who's built a business before and successfully exited or not successfully exited. And maybe they've wrapped it up, maybe it's not gone to plan, but that founder has learned a hell of a lot from the process and can bring those learnings to this next venture. So more commercially driven, might have some sales expertise, understand how to run a business. We get some applications from MBA students, so if you've studied something along those lines, business or entrepreneurship, that's kind of the sort of persona we're looking at there. The second persona, I'll hand over to Rohan, because Rohan is this persona and is this type of founder.
So another category here is the product-based founder, right? So the product-based founder is someone who kind of can lean towards the commercial side, but has experience in building, right? In the sense of they may not be the technical founder in their startup, or may possibly be, but they're completely product focused. So the people that fit that criteria are maybe experienced product builders within industry already, or those who are simply in their bedroom today. I mean, just like myself. I mean, I'm someone who's been posting things on stuff like Product Hunt. I've been doing stuff within Discord as well, just sharing ideas on a regular basis, but actually, building, not just being the ideas person. So they can be a mix of the executioner, but also the ideas person per se, but ideally someone who has built and has experience in doing so. So yeah, that's another criteria.
Yeah, and the third kind of persona is like an AI software developer or engineer. You may be a PhD student. You may wonder if, can I in looking into AI, you may wonder if can I commercialize what I've researched. You may be building already. Kind of, it's a bit of a crossover, I think, between the product persona and the AI kind of researcher or developer. Or you can be a small team who encompasses all three. Or if we think you'd benefit and you're a commercially focused founder, for example, we might try and support you to find your CTO during the program. But yeah, I guess just on who we're looking for, a little bit more on kind of the personal attributes that we're looking for. So, the kind of human traits. And a big thing we look for during the application process in our founders is leadership qualities. So you might be a visionary evangelist, really, really champion your product, your idea, the problem you're trying to solve, but at the same time have a growth mindset and be willing to pivot, and have a real thirst for knowledge, really want to learn, really want to collaborate and learn from those around you. Also ruthless prioritization. So I'm sure many of you know life as a founder is incredibly tough, and you have to be able to prioritize and understand what you need to focus on first. Resilience and perseverance as well, because it can be a tough, long journey too. The other quality is motivation. So what's motivating you? We, like to work with people who are motivated by uncertainty, not scared by uncertainty, who find uncertainty exciting and can operate within uncertainty and make decisions in uncertainty when you don't have all the information available. And usually driven by something other than money, because if you're only driven by money, it's quite easy just to go, I'm going to go back to that corporate job, and when the going gets tough. So, what else is motivating you? And product market fit as well. So someone who's obsessed with the problem. So I'll hand you over to Rohan as well to say a bit more on that.
Yeah, sure. So product market fit, maybe coined best by Mark Andreessen, who said it was being in a good market with a product that can, satisfy that specific market. Now you need to be, and this is something we look out for, you need to be obsessed with the problem rather than the solution you're necessarily building. And I can speak from personal experience here. One of my startups I'm building right now is called Protégé, and it's empowering the development of youth footballers. Now, I feel that problem firsthand because my younger brother is going through that exact process. So it's necessarily built for him. So ideally, when you come in with these problems, there's something that you may see on a day-to-day, or something that's constantly pestered you, or something that you really kind of focus on more than the solution. Like Kelly said, you're going to pivot. I pivoted countless times. I mean, in this current startup, I think it's the 8th or 9th pivot. So, just be prepared for that. Like I said before, we're going to invalidate you until you can't be invalidated anymore. So be prepared for the idea that you come in with to change. But you need to come in with that mindset that you need something that befits the market. And a lot of customer research and client research will be taken into account when making these decisions. It's not just going to be us bashing you for that. So yeah, just to keep that in mind.
Yeah, thanks, Rohan. And yeah, talent as well. So the ability to attract talent, recruit and retain top talent. Obviously, there's a shortage, tech talent in particular. So your ability to motivate and retain those people and manage a team effectively, and keep people kind of motivated, and leading by example with a strong work ethic are all really key as well. So we look for that too. So we'll just go over to answer a few more questions before we jump on to the next section. The next section is a 12-week program, so I'll tell you a bit more about the program. I'll give you an overview in a moment. So Bob, you asked, is there an additional cost to embed the AI tools into our solutions? So no, there isn't from AI Forge. So we will advise, what tools are already out there that you can just leverage and license, and that will obviously incur a cost. But anything we build for you, so anything our CTO's team builds for you will be yours. It'll be yours to own and have, and there's no additional cost there. But again, if we say, look, you can get to market quicker by using this existing tool or model out there, then that may come with a cost. but it's not from us, if that makes sense. What aspects of AI is AI Forge going to help with? Is it just large language models? No, it could be anything. So our developer team are capable across all areas, many different areas. So whatever you need support with, they'll help you. We kind of work right from UX UI. So we've got a head of design who will help you with the user journey and experience and developing the design, kind of the Figma designs, and producing your website or the app. But he works with our CTO, Robin, who will, help you leverage models, incorporate blockchain even if that's what you need. And he'll work with you on your tech roadmap, and they can help you develop whatever you need. So do you want to chip in, Rohan?
Oh yeah, just one quick thing to add. It's not just LLMs. Of course, we can support with that. We can help you build on top of the big platforms. But what we've seen throughout our applications is a great diversification in the types of AI. So one of the first things we'll look at is a type of model that you actually want to build upon. So in the sense of, is it a supervised learning? Is it simple as that? Or are we going to go to other extremes? Nonetheless, what I think is key here is that you should just be prepared to obviously learn about different models, but also go through the data collection processes too, which we're going to embed in our teachings to help you guys form an AI first company, because that's a key differentiator between the traditional startup where resources kind of value is more valuable compared to the strength of your model, how much data you actually have, what's actual use cases. So just be prepared for that. That's just it.
Great, thanks, Rohan. And the next question from Zoran: what can 3 months training session be split within the team? Yes, I'd say it can to a certain extent. So the program is 12 weeks. It's kind of almost got 3 themes. So the first 4 weeks is validation. The next 4 weeks is traction. The 4 weeks after that is preparing for funding. So you could potentially, a different founder can join, depending on your focus, a different founder could join different sessions. It is beneficial. We have some bootcamp weeks which are even more intense, and I'd recommend maybe all of you join those if you can. There's 3 of those in the program, and also things like the mentor week. So week 3 is matching you with mentors, and it's really good if all of you are there for that, because these could be your key advisors. They'll want to meet you all, and it makes a good impression if all of you are there. And equally, the investor week as well, like absolutely all of you should be all hands on deck, and you should all be attending investor week. So I think it'd just be a consideration for the 3 of you, if it's 3 of you, for example, how you will coordinate and communicate between you, how you will split it, and if it's actually doable. So yeah, just something for you to think about. But we do require a member of the founding team to be present for all pre-planned sessions. So and then Francesca's asked, what's the difference between your Miami Accelerator? Do we have an investor demo day? Yes, we do. So the final week culminates in 3 investor dinners, where we introduce you to plus 50 sort of investors per dinner. You get to pitch to them, you get to network. And then we also have a demo evening where you get to present, a couple of 100 investors, also ecosystem partners, and advisors there too. So we do give you a lot of face time and presence in front of investors. The difference between Miami and London, they're very similar. The programs will run in a very similar manner. The differences will be, the different markets and different investor landscape as well. So there will be some variations. And I'd say if you're thinking about which one to join, think about which market are you going after first? Where are your first customers going to be based? If you're building some sort of space solution, Miami might be a better option. I know the funding for space ventures is better in the US. If you're planning to start in the UK and gain some clients in the UK first, then definitely join the London incubator. So those are some key considerations, I think, is where's your market, how well do you understand each market, and also the mentors in each program are going to understand either the UK market or the US market, so that's the key consideration too. And then we have a technology partner in Italy. Is that an issue? No, it's not an issue at all. If you've already got some technology partners on board, our CTO and his developer team will help you make use of their time in the best way possible. They can work with your partner in Italy. to help you, iterate and move quicker. And post-program, we get you investment, you're free to work with any technology partner. And Robin and his team, they'll be honest and say they may not be the cheapest, so that it might actually be better if you use someone else, but you are also, welcome to speak with him. So, and Piotr, Kelly, I've sent my application already. How can I reapply after this webinar in case I need to change my pitch? Yeah, just submit another application and just make a note and say I've applied previously. Please discount my old one, and I'll keep an eye out for that. Roma and I can keep an eye out. And then Athlin, can we go through your slides or talk track, then see if there's any questions? Yes, absolutely. We are jumping about the structure quite a bit. And yeah, I'll come on to the 9% again in a moment. So we've got a few more questions. I'll pause there for a moment. Yeah, and just talk about the program. So the 12-week program, as I mentioned, it's kind of split into 3 parts. So the first 4 weeks is validation. So as Rohan said, we try and invalidate your idea. We try and break your idea, to the point where we're confident you're onto something. We don't want you to start working on something in 12 months' time for it, to realise you've gone down the wrong path. We try and get you on the right path right at the start. So that's kind of the focus of the first 4 weeks, and we look at things like team building and your vision. First week we go on a retreat, so you can bond with the other founders and sort of do some team challenges, and sort of meet the Forge team as well, get to know what we can bring to the table, how you can best leverage and use us throughout the program as well. And also get you thinking about how to motivate your future team, thinking about things like equity. How are you going to motivate them for the long journey ahead? Week 2 is very much startup fundamentals, and looking at your key assumptions. So you'd have tested some assumptions, with some potential clients already. What other assumptions, what other things are you assuming that we need to fully test to make sure you're on the right track? And looking at risks as well. How can we de-risk this as much as possible? And then, yeah, week 3, as I've mentioned, is mentors and feedback. So we introduce you, we match you to some mentors who can either give you that sector perspective, open some doors. They might have specialist skills in a certain area. So we'll do some matching, post, if you're successful in gaining a place, Rohan and I will work to match you with the most appropriate mentors. And you get to meet them and engage with them in depth, and they'll give you feedback throughout that week as well. And then we'll help you develop a one-pager, get you out to market quickly, get you talking to potential customers quickly, testing that one-pager, getting their feedback, some initial feedback. And week 4 is an AI bootcamp and looking at your first iteration and first designs. So what might that look like in Figma, for example? The next part is traction. So it's about helping you start to gain traction. But first up is week 5, so product MVP requirements and design. So I'll let Rohan say a bit more on this.
Yeah, so during this period, some people may be a little bit confused about this, because when defining what an MVP is, it can obviously be in many different iterations depending on what you're necessarily building. But the idea is, in this week, we're obviously going to get the requirements and designs together to put something that is investor ready. So the leanest, workable model of what you're trying to build. Because of course, building AI tools or businesses that incorporate AI, there's obviously going to be complexities with some of your businesses, right? So to begin with, we are going to just have something really simple, scalable, of course, for you to build on and obviously get your pre-seed funding in. So it will be at that level, just past proof of concept.
Great, thanks, Rohan. And market client interviews. So we've got a lead generation expert, so he'll support you to generate some leads and some interest for potential clients for you to follow up with and start engaging with. Then it's also like a full week on kind of like a client boot camp. So where's your target market? And we'll share with you a go-to-market playbook as well to support that process. And then the final week is traction. So how are you going to gain traction? How are you going to measure traction? What KPIs are you going to put in place to show to investors, we are gaining traction and we can prove it. So figuring that out as well is really important. And then on to the sort of final third of the program, the last 4 weeks is very much focused around funding, getting you ready for investment. So it's planning, really. It's planning for a longer journey than just the 12 weeks, long beyond just pre-seed. It's thinking about things like how can we make sure you retain enough equity so that you continue to be motivated? How do you manage your cap table? Venture capital firms, when you come to your seed round, can get very put off if you've got a messy cap table. So we help you structure your cap table in a way that doesn't put them off, and is easy for them to deal with and invest in you. So it's kind of planning for 18 months ahead. That pre-seed round of funding is usually around £200,000 we'll aim to raise you, and that's just enough runway to get you moving, get you building, to help you get some traction, so that then you come to your seed round, which is a bigger raise, which is 1 million plus, or maybe even more than that, 2-3 million. You can demonstrate, look, we've hit our milestones, we did what we said we were going to do with that £200,000. That's when VCs will have much more confidence to invest. So it's usually angels that come in pre-seed that make up the most. VCs will start to track your performance. If you meet your milestones, they'll come in the next round and beyond. So we help you plan your funding journey right from the outset. And then AI operations, so how to audit. Again, this comes back to investors. They want to have confidence if they're going to invest. That you've got proper auditing processes in place, and all the necessary kind of regulations are kind of ticked off and things. And we'll help you develop a data room as well. So putting in your documents and information so investors can do their due diligence and review those easily and invest in you quickly. And week 12, I've said a bit about this already. So yeah, we introduce you to hundreds of investors. We'll do some matching as well with angel investors and venture capital firms to try and match you to investors with your sector focus. But you do get a lot of visibility. We introduce you to hundreds during that week. And we do allow some of our closest investors. We've partnered with some angel syndicates and SEAS funds as well. So they'll get a sneak peek and get to engage with you slightly earlier. But yeah, you get great coverage. And really, it doesn't end there, because it's to investors, but it takes some time to get the money in. So we usually do a rolling close. So you'll have some money coming in straight away, and our investment director will work really hard with you to help you achieve your target. And that's probably a nice time to come back to one of the questions actually up here from John. He said, what was that 9%? Yes, it was 9% equity. So we do take 9% equity in your business. Again, if you're at ideation, I think it's a brilliant deal for all the value you get, and the kind of ecosystem you're joining and the ongoing support during the program and beyond. Raising that investment, we're absolutely determined to raise you that investment, otherwise our 9% is worth nothing. So we've got our own targets to raise you that investment, and to give you the advice and the feedback that you really need to hear. There's some great incubators and accelerators out there, absolutely fantastic ones, but a lot of them feel a little bit academic. They're not as hands-on necessarily. You get a lot of great knowledge, but they don't necessarily kind of let go the hard yards with you. But because we take this equity, we're absolutely driven to support you. Again, if you are a bit further along and you've got traction and revenue already, it starts to get a bit tricky, especially if you've got existing investors. We can always have a discussion on that, and we can see if there's a match. But yeah, I hope that answers that question. And then the next question, are founders previously established startup welcome into the program? Yes, absolutely. You could be a serial entrepreneur, you can have started businesses before. That's great experience. So we welcome applications from people who founded businesses before, or if this is your first venture as well. And then the student visa, we'll come back to you on that actually a bit. And then I think it leads on nicely to the next question. Where will you get info about us? Pitch deck. So this is a nice time, I think, to move on to the next section, which is the application process and what we're looking for. So there's 3 stages in our application process. The first one is you fill in our application form and upload your pitch deck, which I think a lot of you might have done already, or you're planning to this week, hopefully. And then if it looks like it's a good fit, we'll interview you. So myself and colleague, either Rohan or our program director, will join me to interview you, to get to know you as a founder, to ask questions, etc. And then if we think you're right for us, the 3rd stage is to pitch to our judging panel. So that's 6 members from the AI Forge team, but also some external AI experts. And we've got some professors on board, and some really experienced entrepreneurs to give us some outside perspective, and also people who've got some specific industry focus as well. So we'll try and match your pitching session on the judging panel with the relevant people there. So and the idea is we give loads, you get loads of feedback. So the further you move through the process, the more feedback you'll get, and the more in-depth feedback you'll get. If you get to the judging panel, even if you're not successful, you'll have these expert judges on board, listening to you pitch. They'll give you feedback, valuable feedback to go away, and that's a condition of them joining the judging panel. So I guess what makes a good application, we actually have an evaluation matrix, and I'll share that with you in a moment, because I believe in being really transparent. As Rohan said, you can apply to these incubators and accelerators. You don't know what they're looking for, you get no feedback. So I want to be as transparent as possible to give you the best chance of success. I guess first up, the term pitch deck, I think has many people quite confused. You don't need to be investor ready. It doesn't need to be a pitch deck that you might put in front of a VC. You don't need complex financial modeling or financial projections or anything like that, because that's what we're here to help you with. We do a whole session on financial modeling, and we help you build your financial model. So we appreciate you're really early stage, so it doesn't need to be investor ready. What I would say though is, if you can give as much information to demonstrate you understand the problem you're trying to solve, I think that is the first most crucial step. And you can understand the problem, you've either lived through it yourself, you work in that industry, or you've actually gone out and spoken to people who you think are experiencing that problem, and you've got some market research to demonstrate that it is a problem. And also doing some desktop research as well is absolutely key. And then an overview of your solution. And don't forget to tell us about you as well. So who are you? What have you studied? Where have you been working? What challenges have you overcome? Tell us a bit about yourself in the pitch deck, but we'll find a bit more about you in the interview as well. So, but yeah, back onto the evaluation matrix. So team, we're founder first. Your idea will change and iterate and pivot many times. As Rohan said, he's pivoted 8 or 9 times. So things are constantly changing and evolving. The market's changing as well. New competitors are popping up. You've got to be able to be agile and pivot and iterate quickly. So really it comes down to you, the founders, to do that. So we are founder first. So 50% of the marks kind of allocated to team. So that's very much based on your experience. Are you an experienced entrepreneur from before? Have you successfully exited, or not successfully exited, but gained a lot of knowledge from that? And I love it when people tell me about what they've learned. So that's so key and crucial. Again, a well-rounded team is ideal if you've got some commercial experience, product experience, technical AI capabilities. But don't worry if you don't have all of those. If you're strong in one of those areas, then we'll consider solo founders. And again, people who are actually just building. I'm always really impressed if someone hasn't necessarily worked in that sector, but they've just started talking to clients, they've just started testing, they've just started building, they're experimenting. That's just key sort of founder attributes right there. So you may not have a long career yet, but if you're doing that and you're testing and you're building and you're trying things out, I think that's always quite impressive. So and if you've gone and spoken to some advisors as well, if you've gone and sought that feedback, I always find gives me a lot of comfort that you're demonstrating you don't want to just sit and tinker with what you're building. You're actually willing to go out and talk to people. Your drivers. So what's driving you? It's really key. Really key that we get to the bottom of what's driving you, what's going to sustain you over the long journey. And your desire to learn as well, and to be honest about what you don't know, not expecting you to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination, so be honest about where your weaknesses lie as well, and what you need to learn. 50% of the marks go to you and your team. And then 20% of the marks are in market. So is it a big enough market for this business to be profitable and hopefully be a unicorn? And can you articulate your initial target market? I think it's really important. So, people might say, oh, health tech's growing. Well, yeah, which niche, which part of health tech are you going to tackle first? What's your route in? How do you differentiate there? What's the opportunity in the next 2 years to start generating revenue there? So having a little bit of a view on that is really important. Is the market right for AI disruption as well? I mean, that's probably going to be yes for most markets. I think everywhere is right for AI disruption. And what are the challenges to entering this market, and is the timing right? So timing is actually the biggest predictor of success. I've done a little bit of research on this, so that's another consideration. But for your pitch deck, so what to put in your pitch deck, I would say, competitive focus. So doing some research on the existing players in the market is key as well. So show you understand the problem, give an overview of the solution, and show you understand the landscape you're planning to operate within. Show you've done a bit of a deep dive into each of your main top 3 competitors, at least, let's say. You understand how you differentiate and what you're going to do that's different. It's really key. And yeah, why is no one else already solving this is another key question I like to ask. So the other area we assess is progress, traction, validation. So you don't necessarily have to have paying customers at all. You can be pre-traction, pre-revenue, and that's where most of our startup founders sort of sit. But what feedback have you got? What have you tested already? Have you done any beta testing, for example? Have you floated the idea and got lots of sign-ups for people who are interested to hear more? That's demonstrating some good things that potentially to come. And then any other signals as well that might demonstrate you're onto something. And then idea, business model, and your value proposition. That's kind of the least amount of marks. Again, back to that competitor focus. If you can then show how you're different, what's your value proposition, why are you different, and also will people pay for it as well? So how will you make money? Again, we don't need a financial model, but how do you plan to monetize this? What were your top revenue streams? If you can just give a view on that as well, that will stand you in a really good position. A few other quick tips. Yeah, I guess no more than 20 slides, I'd say. We have limited time to review the applications. So, if you go into 21 slides, that's fine, but just try not to go too much over that, because again, it will become difficult to assess, and we won't have much time. So, and there is a space to include a video as well to introduce yourself. So that's quite a nice touch point for us to start to get to know you before the interview as well. So that's kind of a quick wrap up of the programme. Appreciate there's a lot of information there. I'll go back to the questions, and I feel we've probably got too many questions to answer. So what we'll do is we'll gather up all these questions and issue a Q&A afterwards if we don't finish getting through them all. So is there an FAQ or one pager? What are you offering for the 9%? Yes, absolutely. We can send you out a summary of the programme and how the 9% works. So we'll send that out along with this recording as well. How to team up with existing candidates and co-founders? Yeah, so we're planning to do a bit of program matching, and this might be a good chance to hand over to Rohan actually to say a bit more about our pre-incubation community building.
Yeah, sure. So one big problem, well, I wouldn't say problem, but one big concern that's come about with some of these solo founders has been, look, I'm looking for a technical founder. Don't know necessarily where to find them. One thing that we're going to be doing, we are going to be developing something called Forge Finder down the line, where we can match founders who don't have that technical person or that commercial person, but wants to take forward a 2-person team. That's completely fine. But one thing that we're going to focus on from the early is within our pre-incubation, obviously the people that didn't necessarily make the program, or people who are just in there anyway as builders or as technical people, as commercial people, maybe didn't think of a solution yet or a problem yet to solve. People who've gone through the program can actually go and source individuals from there that they may want to work with. That will be taken into account and that will be valid.
Right, thank you. And then David's asked, does this tie in with Innovate UK? I know they're currently doing a funding round for AI. We're not directly affiliated to Innovate UK. A couple of, so Craig, our CEO, used to be a judge for Innovate UK, and we've got a couple of advisors on board who are closely affiliated to Innovate UK. And we will be doing a session on grant funding, so how to win some grant funding, what the requirements are and how to go about that as well. So, and Ben's asked, would the ideal products be geared towards B2B problems, or does it not matter at all? I would say yes, B2B is preferable. We're not closed to B2C, but B2B is preferable because investors get really nervous if it's B2C, because it can burn through their investment pretty quick on digital marketing and trying to gain those consumers. And it can be quite difficult to stay ahead of the competition when it's B2C as well. So, but if you do have a B2C, if you're thinking of something B2C, we'll help you think of a B2B2C option. So one example is a startup I worked with. She was looking at like almost like Uber for tradespeople. So that's a huge onboarding of many customers, you know, thousands and thousands of customers before it's sort of profitable. But we managed to generate some amazing partnerships for her with people like B&Q, Checker Trader, insurance as well. People get insurance against burst pipes and things. So it's Uber for tradespeople. This insurance company was willing to, you know, message their kind of database and promote her company to their database. So we'll look for B2B to C options where possible. Yeah, so great question from Gabriel. What makes your team uniquely qualified to advise startups on how to take advantage of AI? So yeah, again, we've got Robin, our CTO, who's an absolute expert in this area. I don't want to call him a genius, that seems what he is. he's incredible. He can advise on what's happening. He's building solutions all the time in AI. Also, Rohan's building his own AI solutions too. The program is also masterclasses, workshops, mentors. Those are external people who are partnering with us, and we'll have some external advisors who are expert in AI as well on board. And ultimately, there's a lot of hype around AI, but product market fit is still absolutely key. Understanding your customers is still absolutely key. Business fundamentals are still really, really important. AI is just kind of a tool that makes things happen at the end of the day. So and then Nathan, I'm working on making my pitch deck as concise as possible, but it's still quite long. What's your suggested number of slides? Yeah, I'd say you could get it, if you could get it into 20 slides, that'd be brilliant. And the other option is just to put the detail in the appendices. So if you feel like you want to show how much work you've done, I love that, but maybe put them in an appendix and try and summarize in the top 20 slides, if that helps. I've already applied. I've got an email asking me to register again.
That's been dealt with in the chat.
Thank you. Yeah. Can we send 2 decks? Would it harm our chance? You can send 2 decks in. I would say try and do the work to validate which is the most promising idea, and also pick the idea that is you're most passionate about as well, and you have the most knowledge and experience in. So those are things to consider. That will come across better if you can kind of pick one, I'd say, but you are welcome to submit 2. We already have a functioning MVP. How would the program adjust to address higher maturity solutions? Yeah, so Lipin and his developer team, they give you 100 hours of developer or modeling time or data analysis time, whatever you need really. So they can either help you iterate further, build it out further. They can suggest additional features if it proves worth it, And I don't know if you want to say anything more on that, Rohan.
No further.
Yeah, so you still get to access those 100 hours. They'll help you look at your tech roadmap. So it's not a case of, you've already got an MVP, off you go. We'll look at your MVP, look at what you're trying to build, which market you're trying to break into, and help you figure out what your technology can look like, in the future, in the next 12 to 18 months, because that feeds into your financial model as well. So they'll help you build it out further and develop that tech roadmap. So talk a bit about the traction section in the pitch deck. Yeah, so I think just talk about which customers you've engaged with and what their feedback is. Have you issued a survey, for example, or have you gone and done 30 one-to-one interviews with who you think your customer is? So it doesn't need to be paying traction, or it may be you've launched a simple website and you've kind of put a small bit of budget behind it, or you've got people registering already to say, I'm really interested in this, and you've kind of got a waiting list. And that's the sort of traction we're sort of talking about. So, and where do you register? Where did you register? Yes, if you have a look at our website, we'll circulate you'll be dealt with that, yeah.
Yeah, it's dealt with, don't worry. That's as easy.
Yeah, okay. I'm just really conscious of time. We will gather up the additional questions from here, and we'll come back to you with an FAQ. Conscious there's a lot more questions here that we haven't got to, but we've got to 1 o'clock already. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining, and we hope we've answered a lot of your questions and given you enough of an overview. I would say don't overthink it, just give it a go. You know, if you can outline the problem and the solution, the competitive landscape in your team, you're in with a good chance. And again, you know, we have 3 programs a year, so you're always welcome to apply again, and hopefully you'll get some valuable feedback throughout the process. So yeah, thank you. I'm going to drop off now.
Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
Take
Bye.
care.